Today I'm going to be reviewing a couple of different custom Plants vs. Zombies plushes. And while all of these custom Plants vs. Zombies plushes belong to the YouTuber Peely IDK, and I've left his channel link in the description, you should definitely go subscribe to him. As well, without him, obviously this video wouldn't even be possible to make, so make sure to go subscribe to him. And yeah, first we're going to be starting off with the Kernel corn. Now, for the head of the Kernel corn, it's overall pretty nicely shaped and it looks accurate to the game. Obviously, the head doesn't have all the individual kernels stitched onto it, as well that would just be way too much detail to even fit on an entire plush. And while for the face, the expression on it actually looks pretty accurate and he did a nice job with it. So yeah, overall for the face, he actually did a really good job with it, especially because all the details that he missed out on are just really hard to make and would basically be impossible to make all those details on a plush. And while the leaves around the head on this plush also look pretty good, as well they're accurately shaped and look pretty nice. And while for the arms, they look pretty good. The only downside to them is that the kernels are just a bit too small, but besides that, they look pretty good. And while for the rest of the body is basically just a green stem, which is accurate to the game, and it looks pretty nice, and the leaves on the bottom of it also look pretty good. So yeah, overall, I would have to say that this is actually a pretty good custom plush. Even though it's not the best Kernel corn custom I've seen, it's still not that bad. There are a few details I missed out on, obviously, as well there's just a lot of detail on Kernel corn, so it would be very hard to make an accurate looking plush. So yeah, even though it's not the best Kernel corn plush I've seen, it's definitely still pretty good. Now next up we have the Shroom. Now for the cap on the Shroom plush is definitely not the best I've seen, as I was missing the spots on it. It's also a slightly lighter shade of green. And while for the face of the Shroom is also the wrong color, as well this one's a white color, while the actual face of the Shroom is supposed to be like a greenish blue color. And while the face is also just lacking a lot of details, while the eyes don't even have pupils in them, and the actual shooter on the Shroom just doesn't have much detail at all. And while for the bottom of the Shroom, once again, it just doesn't really look that good in my opinion. There's definitely a few things that I think should have been improved on. And while out of all the custom plushes he's made, I think this one's probably the worst out of all of them, as well as just lacking a lot of detail, and there's just not much detail in this plush at all. So yeah, overall, out of all the custom plushes in this video, this will probably be the worst one. Now next we have the Kernel pole. Well, the face on this one actually looks pretty good, as though the eyebrows are correctly shaped and they look pretty good, and the eyes also look pretty good, as though they just look accurate to the game with the way that they're facing. And while the shape of the Kernel pole definitely isn't perfect, but it still looks alright, and the leaf base also looks pretty good. As well, the leaves on the bottom of it look pretty good in my opinion, as well I just think that they did a good job with it, besides the fact that on the right of the plush they are missing a couple of leaves there, and it looks sort of weird. And while there's also no pole on this plush, but that sort of makes sense, as well this plush is probably based off of another plush that just didn't have a pole, as well it's kind of hard to make a pole on these plushes. But yeah, overall, in my opinion, the face on this plush is definitely the best part of it. Next, we have the Scaredy Shroom. Now, for the face on the Scaredy Shroom plush, I actually really like it, as though the eye shines in the eyes look really good, and they also did a good job with the shooter part of the plush, as though I just think that he did a really good job with it. And while it's also correctly shaped, and overall, it just looks really nice. As though the entire body seems to be really nicely stuffed, and it's also correctly shaped, so yeah, overall, the actual body and eyes on this plush look really good. And while the green eyebrows on the cap of this plush also look pretty good, and the actual cap of it is basically the only bad part about it is that it's just slightly too small. And while even though the cap of this plush is just a bit too small, I still think it's overall a great custom, and it's a really good custom Scaredy Shroom plush, and it looks great. Now next up we have the Fire Pea Shooter. Now for the leaf base on this plush, I just think that it's a bit too small, but besides that, it looks pretty good, and the stem also seems to be really nicely stuffed, making the plush hold up pretty well. And while the only really downside to the stem and the leaf base is that it's just the wrong color, as though Fire Pea is supposed to have an orangish reddish stem and leaf base, so yeah, it isn't supposed to be a green color, but it still looks pretty good in my opinion. As well, since basically every other Fire Pea Shooter plush just has the same green stem and leaf base, I kind of see why he made the plush like that. And while the face of this plush definitely makes up for it, as well, it's definitely a really accurate looking Fire Pea plush, especially compared to some other ones. As well, I think that the face is nicely shaped, and it also seems to be pretty nicely stuffed. The eyes are the correct color, and they look pretty good, and the fire on the back of the head also looks pretty nice. So yeah, overall, I think that the head on this plush definitely makes up for the stem and leaf base being the wrong color, as well, I think that the head just looks really good. Now next up we have the Plush Room. Now for the face of this plush, I think it looks pretty good, so the eyes look pretty nice, and same thing with the shooter part of the plush. And while the only really bad thing about the head is that it's just slightly too big in my opinion, it's also just slightly too stuffed, but besides that, it looks pretty good. And while just like the Scaredy Shroom, the cap on this plush also looks pretty good, it's just a bit too small. So yeah, I think if he made the cap of the plush just a bit bigger, I think that this plush overall just look a bit better. But yeah, still, it overall looks pretty good. Even if it's not as big as I would like it to be, it still looks pretty good. And we're moving on to the final and definitely the best custom plush out of all of these being the Dogtail. Now, for the leaf base on this plush, is basically the only part of the plush that I don't really like, as I just think that it's a bit too small. But besides the leaf base, I think that the rest of the plush is great. As well, to start off, the eyes and eyebrows just look really good. I think that they're really nicely made, and also the snout on this plush also looks really good. As well, it just seems to be really nicely stuffed, which makes it stand up and continue to look pretty good, and the tongue on it also is a really nice detail that I'm really glad that he added. And well, you can also see the little nose that he added, which just looks really good, and is definitely a really nice part of the plush. It just has a lot of small details which look really good. And while the ears on this plush are a bit big, but besides that, I think they look really good, as well they're the correct color and everything, and they look nice. And well, for the actual tail on this plush, it looks pretty good, and it seems to be really nicely stuffed. So yeah, overall, this is definitely the best custom plush he's ever made, as well it just looks really nice. So yeah, overall, this is definitely the best custom plush out of all of them, as well it just looks really good, and there's basically no details I dislike, besides the leaf base just being a bit small, but besides that, the rest of the plush is amazing. And while I hope that he continues to make more custom plushes in the future, as even though some of them kind of look weird like the sea shroom, he's definitely getting better at it, especially with the Dogtail. So yeah, overall, I definitely think that you should continue to make custom Plants vs. Zombies plushes, as especially with your most recent one being the Dogtail. It looks great. So yeah, once again, go subscribe to Peely, as he's the one that made all these plushes, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like, subscribe, and comment down below which of these plushes are your favorite, and yeah, have a great day.